Journal writing is another form of writing for your classroom. Journal writing you may not want to do in kindergarten unless you keep it maybe once a week. Journal writing in any grade level should be have a variety, or they get tired of it. And also, you don't want to do journal writing every day. I found that right away. In my own classroom in first grade, my students loved journal writing on either Monday morning or Friday morning. And it was one of their morning work jobs where they'd come in and they'd work independently until we started our morning meeting. On Monday, they loved sharing in their journals what they did for the weekend with their families. Or it's that time where they could see friends or do something more exciting. Also, Fridays, a lot of them were anticipating some things for the weekend. So Fridays or Mondays were really great days for journal writing. Throughout the week, I didn't use it very often. But journal writing can be teacher-directed or student-selected. And there are 5 different kinds of journals. The first one is called a dialogue journal. This is where students and teachers write back and forth, holding a conversation with each other. This may be curriculum related or just for fun. These are great for reluctant writers because they look forward to a response. My journals were dialogue journals because they would tell me about their weekend and then I would write back and reply in some way. And it's hard. That's another reason you don't want to do journals every day, is you have to respond in many of them, and that's very time consuming. But I love the opportunity to have a conversation with them one-on-one every day. Another way I use dialogue journals was with my own daughters. I have 3 daughters, and I work, and they go to school, and they have activities, and sometimes we just don't have that time to really connect and have personal conversations, and they might really need me some night that I'm teaching in the evening or something. So a few years ago, I gave each one of them a journal, and that if they had something they wanted to share with me, they could write it down and put it on my pillow at night, and then I would write back to them in the morning, and then I would follow up with a conversation. But they actually loved having those conversations in the journals more than face-to-face, especially with my oldest daughter, because I think she felt more comfortable writing things at times. With my middle daughter, when she was in first grade, I would come home from school every day and say, "What did you do in school?" And she would say, "I don't know, nothing." And we eventually enacted a dialogue journal where at the end of the day, the teacher allowed her to write down the things that she had done in class, and then she would share that with me, and I would write back to her, and I would try to extend on some of her learning, and it became a very good way for her to retell the day for me and practice some of her writing skills. So dialogue journals can also be shared with parents because it might be something they want to try at home with their own students. Some other journals are buddy journals, which are just like a dialogue journal, but instead of being between the teacher and the student, they are between buddies. So they could be students in the same classroom, they could be students in a different classroom, or even a different grade level. I know we had, in first grade, we had third grade buddies, and so they had buddy journals with their third grade pals that they used every once in a while. Really just depends how you want to do it. Double entry journals are where you have a journal that has 2 columns, and the columns allow them to make connections, to ask questions, and to reflect on text that they are reading. So these are really used for a specific content area, for reading, for math, for science, social studies, or health. And as they read, they can make comments, and they can ask questions, and then they can respond to them, or you as the teacher can respond to them. Those are for comprehension and learning purposes. Also, reading journals are similar, but they are structured in that you will have them read something in literature or in a content area, and you will ask them questions or prompts that they will have to answer in that journal. I know during some of my units in science and social studies, we would have reading journals. One I can think of off the top of my head is during my solar system week. At the end of each day, they would go to their journal and they would have a solar system journal where they would respond to certain questions to share what they've learned. Your discussion threads are somewhat similar to a reading journal because I give you a specific question or prompt or topic to talk about, and then you do that specific to what you have learned. And that's really blogging or discussions take on the same tone as a reading journal. The last kind of journal is called a response journal, and this is just like that reading journal, but instead of having a specific topic or prompt, it's more like a diary or a blog and ongoing. It's always student directed, and so they have the choice about what they want to write every day, and you don't have to respond to them. It just gives them a place to put their thoughts or ideas down. And a lot of students like to keep those, and I give them the opportunity to do that if they want to. And these are the types of journals. We're going to try it out on the next slide.